Stop. Before you watch another video today, watch this one. Because what science has quietly discovered about the animals sharing this planet with us should have been front-page news a long time ago. These are not the animals you learned about in school. These are the ones nobody told you about. And once you see what they can do, you will never look at this world the same way again. This is a fossa. Most people have never heard that name. That is exactly what it wants. Madagascar's apex predator has been hunting in total silence for 20 million years, and science has just confirmed something extraordinary about how it does it. It does not chase, it calculates. Before every single hunt, this animal runs a probability analysis. It reads the terrain, it measures the wind, it identifies the weakest target in a group, not randomly, but through a process of elimination that mirrors human strategic thinking so closely that neuroscientists had to check their results twice. This is not an accident of nature. This is 4 billion years of refinement. And the fossa is just the beginning. Because out in the Pacific Ocean right now, an animal the size of your thumb is throwing a punch so fast, so hot, so violent, that for one fraction of a second it reaches the temperature of the surface of the sun. Meet the peacock mantis shrimp, smaller than your hand, more dangerous than almost anything alive. Its strike moves at 23 meters per second, faster than a bullet leaving a gun barrel, and the physics of what happens at the point of impact will genuinely make you question reality. The water in front of its club evaporates, not heats up, not boils, evaporates, creating a cavitation bubble that collapses at 4,700 degrees Celsius, a temperature that exists on the surface of the sun. For 300 microseconds, this shrimp creates a star. But here is what makes this animal truly dangerous. It sees that star coming. While human eyes carry 3 color receptors, the mantis shrimp carries 16. It sees ultraviolet, it sees infrared. It sees colors that have no name in any human language because no human has ever perceived them. It is not watching the same world you are watching right now, and neither, it turns out, is anything else on this planet. In 1973, a scientist named Carl von Frisch won the Nobel Prize, not for medicine, not for physics, for proving that bees talk. A single honeybee returning to the hive performs a dance, a precise figure-8 movement that encodes the exact direction, exact distance, and exact quality of a food source. Accurate to within 50 meters, across 14 kilometers. That is not instinct, that is language. But bees are almost ordinary compared to what elephants are doing right now beneath your feet. Elephants communicate through infrasound, frequencies so low the human ear registers nothing. They send messages through the ground itself, felt through the bones of their feet, readable across 10 kilometers of open terrain. Right now, somewhere in Africa, an elephant family is having a conversation you cannot hear. And sperm whales? They have dialects. Family-specific click patterns passed from mother to calf across generations. Regional accents, cultural identity. We spent centuries assuming language was the wall between humans and animals. Science just knocked that wall down completely. But that is not even the part that changes everything. The part that changes everything is what happens when these animals lose someone they love. In 2012, the world's leading neuroscientists gathered and signed a document, the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. Their conclusion was 4 words long. Animals are aware too. When an elephant matriarch dies, her family returns to her bones, not once, for years. They touch the skull with their trunks. They stand in silence. Scientists have filmed the same family returning to the same bones for over a decade. When a crow loses a flock member, the surviving birds gather, not to feed, not to mate, just to stand around the body, in silence. Chimpanzees have been filmed carrying their deceased infants for weeks, unable to put them down. This is not a story we projected onto animals. This is what the data shows. And if animals grieve like we grieve, feel like we feel, communicate like we communicate, then the question is no longer whether they are like us. The question is why we ever thought they were not. Off the coast of Patagonia, a killer whale is doing something that took scientists years to classify. She is teaching, deliberately, intentionally, repeatedly. She beaches herself on the shoreline, demonstrates the hunting technique to her calf, slides back into the water, and waits for the calf to try. If the calf gets it wrong, she does it again. That is a lesson plan. 3,000 kilometers away in Yellowstone, a wolf pack is executing a hunting strategy that requires each individual wolf to simultaneously track the position of every other wolf, predict where each one will be in 4 seconds, and adjust their own movement accordingly. Neuroscientists call this theory of mind. The ability to model what another individual knows, intends, and will do next. It was considered exclusively human until 20 years ago. We now know wolves have it, ravens have it, and the octopus, an animal that shares no common ancestor with vertebrates for over 500 million years, has independently evolved the same solution. 2 completely separate branches of life, 500 million years apart, arriving at the same answer. Right now, beneath every forest on Earth, something is happening that we have no good word for. The trees are talking, not metaphorically, not poetically. Through a network of fungal threads thinner than a human hair, trees are sending chemical signals, transferring nutrients, and warning each other about incoming threats before those threats arrive. When a Douglas fir is attacked by insects, it does not just defend itself. It sends an alarm through the network. Neighboring trees begin producing defense chemicals before the first insect reaches them. When a tree is dying, it transfers its stored energy through the network to the seedlings around it. And the oldest trees in the forest, the ones scientists now call mother trees, have been shown to send significantly more nutrients to their own offspring than to strangers. A tree, recognizing its own children, feeding them preferentially, in silence, in darkness, for hundreds of millions of years. Before the first animal ever drew breath, science has a rule about where life can exist. It needs water, it needs moderate temperature, it needs protection from radiation. Nature has broken every single one of those rules. At the bottom of the ocean, where pressure would crush a submarine and water temperature reaches 400 degrees Celsius, there are entire ecosystems, thriving, evolving, completely independent of sunlight. In the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, bacteria survive inside transparent rocks, feeding on the light that filters through the stone itself. In Chernobyl, inside the most radioactive landscape created by human beings, wolves, lynx, eagles, and over 200 species of bird have returned. They are not just surviving, they are thriving. Life is not fragile. Life is the most aggressive force this planet has ever produced, and the single most indestructible example of it is something you have walked past 10,000 times without ever knowing it was there, 0.5 millimeter long, 8 legs, a face like a living vacuum cleaner, and a survival record that makes every other animal on Earth look fragile. The tardigrade has been on this planet for 530 million years. It has survived all 5 mass extinctions. In laboratory conditions, it has survived temperatures of minus 272 degrees Celsius, 1 single degree above absolute zero. It has survived temperatures of 150 degrees above zero. It has survived radiation doses 1,000 times lethal to a human being. And in 2007, the European Space Agency strapped tardigrades to the outside of a spacecraft. No suit, no protection, raw open space, vacuum, cosmic radiation, the full unfiltered hostility of the universe. They landed back on Earth alive. This animal has already outlasted the dinosaurs. The mathematics say it will almost certainly outlast us. It is not science fiction. It is already walking across the moss on your garden wall. 4 billion years. That is how long this experiment has been running. Every animal you have seen today is not an accident, not a random outcome. Every single one is a 4 billion year answer to the hardest question in the universe. How do you stay alive? The fossa answered with silence and strategy. The mantis shrimp answered with a punch that creates fire. The elephant answered with memory and grief. The tree answered with a network older than every animal on Earth combined. And the tardigrade answered by simply refusing to die no matter what the universe threw at it. We are one of those answers too. Not the strongest, not the fastest, not even close to the most durable, but the only one that looked at all the other answers around it and asked why. The more we ask that question, the more clearly we see the truth. We are not separate from this world. We never were. We are the universe finally becoming curious about itself. This is Wild Nature Science, and we have barely started.